You good?
Don't talk so fast. Okay.
It's 12:31. I'll call the meeting to order. Quorum is duly present. The meeting is duly constituted, and the first order of business is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion? Thanks. And a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favour? In your box. Yeah. Opposed? That carries. So the agenda is approved. Public participation. Diane, are you public participating, or are you speaking to the new business, which I'd be happy to let you speak to when it comes up?
I'm happy to do that too.
Yeah, let's do it because.
Sure.
I mean, while this is a formal meeting, I'm quite happy for you to speak at the thing. So, adoption of the minutes. There are none, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So we'll pass over that and go to business arising. There being no minutes. There's none. Unfinished business likewise. Resolutions on Firefighters Day. You've read the material. Can I have a motion, please? And a second. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favour? Opposed? It carries. I'll ask in future, though, in this case, Fred, you being the sort of the fire liaison guy wearing your infrastructure hat, that when we notice these things that don't make sense in the package, if we can just have a quick word, in this case with fire, saying, hey, what did you really mean? To save having to have had this meeting, for example. Yeah. I mean, clearly it was not right to request the liquor license until midnight, but as it turns out, our guess at 10 was not correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to new business, and that is the Lions Bay Play School Association. You read the package. The recommendation is in front of you. Well, it's actually not a recommendation. It's the text of a resolution. So can I have a motion, please? Thanks. And a second. And discussion. You may now say your thing. Please approach the podium.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank everyone for helping us out. We've had a very tight time around this, and the need is urgent. So we're just wanting to get the kids into before school care as quickly as possible. The importance, I think we've discussed the strategic significance of having a before and after school care program, because there are parents here who couldn't keep their kids in the school if they didn't have a working before and after school care program. So the after school care program we've taken care of, that remains at the school, but because of changes at the school board, they no longer are able to allow us to use the school for before school care. And this is the only other space currently available in the village, public space that we could possibly use for before school care. It's a short period of time, but regardless, they still need it to meet their licensing requirements. She came and did an inspection. She found a few things that we needed to change. None of them are major, but they do all need to be, in my opinion, but they do all need to be taken care of. We're hoping to, Kitty is coming back on Monday, that's September 14th, to do a second inspection. If you guys approve these changes, she'll come back in on Monday, September 14th, and then she can approve the space, and we can get the kids in there by, I would think, Wednesday of next week, which is great, because there's 5 kids that are we're kind of scrambling for at-home care at various places, which is obviously not ideal. There's insurance implications and all kinds of other things for doing that. So Pam has really kindly done an estimate. We both just had a discussion and decided this is probably quite high for it. My own estimate came up at closer to $500 and a couple of hours of labor time to do the changes required. And the play school would be happy to source and even procure the things. So I don't know how that works with Union, but I mean, if there's a fire extinguisher, he could pick that up, or someone from Works could. I don't know how that works. I mean, we offered to install. Obviously, apparently we're not allowed to do that, but if we'd be happy to help at least assemble the material so that someone from Works could get it done quickly. And our hope would be that it could be done by 1 o'clock on Monday when she comes to inspect.
Okay, thanks. Is that feasible, that deadline?
I'm not sure. The biggest challenge right now is the windows. We would have to get the proper material to coat the windows.
And a contractor has to do that, presumably. I mean, that's
we could
specialized.
I talked to Andrew about that. It was actually Andrew who'd given me the quote, because at that time there was some confusion over what was meant by the cubbies. We thought it might be more extensive than it appears to be. Andrew said it is fairly simple to put on. He said Public Works could do it, but we'd have to buy the product, and then Public Works, we'd have to arrange for their time to come in and install it.
It's a laminate film that you literally just, and not that dissimilar to what you might put over if you had like a bird thing on it, but it's just a laminate sticker,
Yeah,
essentially.
but there's films and films. Incorrectly done, they bubble, they look terrible. You mentioned something that, just let me understand, is this a permanent solution or temporary?
Well, that really is up to you. To meet their code for us to use the space, it needs to be shatterproof
Initially,
glass.
yeah.
We were all a little surprised, to be honest, that when the reno was done, that wasn't included as a part of the reno, that there be shatterproof glass. Nonetheless, if council decided that was as long as we're using the space, there needs to be, the windows need to be shatterproof.
Yeah.
So whether the long-term solution is to maintain that film, or whether you guys decide you want at some later date replace the glass entirely, that would be your prerogative. But the film would meet the code for the kids to be there.
When I spoke to Andrew, it's actually not a film. It's something you actually put right on. You have to apply to the windows. He's done it quite often for banks. So he's coming in later this afternoon to sign a letter. So I'll get more details from him about where you can source it. But it's actually something that's painted on the window and then dries. Like I said, it's used a lot in banks to make it shatterproof. But anyway, we have a source who can identify the best way to do it, and we can get that information this afternoon.
Okay, as long as that meets
But then
the
we'd have
requirements.
to arrange Public Works time to come in and do that.
Yeah.
We need 2 smoke alarms in the 2 rooms, because we're getting our fire system upgraded, but that's a temporary fix until the fire alarm system.
These
And
would be
that's-
battery operated,
Yeah,
standalone. Okay,
that's right.
that's adequate.
That's right.
That's totally adequate.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the report that you've copied us on here, it says September 10th follow-up inspection, but it's now the 14th.
Yes, because today is the 10th,
Today, yeah.
and so we postponed it to the 14th.
Okay, so that's fine.
Right. So
Um,
the things required, sort of taking all the reports into account, it require 2 smoke alarms if they do take both rooms, but
Yeah,
it looks
which-
like we'll be going to do that. There's a step by the one door because the step is too steep, so we would have to have a second step built.
But I think we knew that anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's something that has to be done.
Yeah.
Windows, the film on the glass, I'll get more details from Andrew on that. The cubbies, there's still some clarification needed around
And I
that.
believe
but
with the cubbies, I think that there's certainly something we could do as a temporary thing that we could take care of, like that just bringing in plastic tubs might even suffice for the interim, and a longer term thing could be done after the
After?
kids are in care,
Okay.
is my understanding from Kitty.
Okay. Securing all cabinets to the walls. So if there's, in the second room close to the library, there are some big cabinets that are not secured to the wall. Because I'm not sure if that second room was inspected. When the original inspection happened, I think it was just the room farthest away from the library. So I'm not sure if they actually went into the second
We
room.
did.
Oh, you
yeah,
did?
'cause I was
Okay.
there with
Oh,
her.
okay.
So we did,
So
the
did
big
she
red
mean those
flag
big-
that she had was the glass trophy cabinet, and there was 2 issues with that. One was that it's not secured to the wall, the other is that it's also not shatterproof glass. So I think probably the easiest solution would be is if there's another place to locate that would.
Yeah, that's, but in
And
terms
then
of,
the other cabinets would need to be secured.
because they're in the other room. The trophy cabinet is actually in a different
The other
room
ones
than the other
appear to
room.
be secured to the wall, but they're not.
I don't think they are. They're very, very heavy, but I don't think they're secured to the wall, so that would have to be taken care of. And then back to the trophy cabinet, it can't be secured to the wall because it's really just glass shelving.
There is that, because it's an IKEA cabinet, so there's that little plastic thing that you could use to secure it to the wall, it comes with the cabinet itself, a little plastic thing.
Because all I saw was it's just almost all glass. It's like 95% glass.
The shatterproof thing.
It came with that, but the way it's positioned at the corner, we couldn't secure it. So if they butted it in the corner, you
Yeah.
could. But I don't know if that would suffice because it's just a little, those.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
bigger
presumably not shatterproof. It
No,
doesn't have
that's
the
the
seal
concern.
on it. Okay, so
I-
it has to leave.
I-
But there's
I
plenty
think
of other
it-
spots to put
Well-
it.
Film, which seems more complicated.
The only issue with that, though, is, I'm not trying to throw roadblocks, but that is the Historical Society's cabinet, which they reference a lot, and being able to look at it when they have meetings. So they'll just have to be advised that it will be permanently removed from the room.
Until we get a suitable one.
Yeah, I guess you could buy another one
Yeah.
and then secure it to the wall.
Okay, so I'm hearing that this can all be done. Can it be done by Monday?
That, I'm not sure it'll be, we'll have to put in a CSR to Public Works, and they're short now. Between vacation, Nikki's gone.
There's an overtime. I mean, can they do it on overtime? On the weekend? As long as they have adequate spec?
I could see.
I mean, here's how I'm proposing this gets paid for, is that we simply fund it and charge it back against your future rent. You guarantee us a minimum of that rent so that in the event something happens,
Yeah,
the village is not out of pocket at all, 0 cents.
right.
So I was going to ask you that. We see a number of $6,500 of revenue over the course of the school year. Is that a commitment or is that just indicative? You're not committing to that number.
Well, there will be a rental agreement. It hasn't been signed yet, but they
Yeah.
will have to sign
But
a
is it
rental
month to
agreement.
month, annual?
It's a daily
I mean,
rental.
we commit to it, we can commit to it on an annual basis, and we might come back at you
Yeah.
at some later date for a grant application in kind for moving
An
forward.
in-kind,
But-
sure, yeah.
But we're gonna be using the space for at least the next year, because the school board, I mean, we have no options. And
Okay.
we're committed to keeping the program running, so yes.
Well, I think that's one of the clear intents of this facility. So
Yeah.
I'm only too pleased to see somebody making use of it.
Excellent.
What about, so now we also see here that the rates may change. You've been advised of this. Are you expecting any grandfathering of rental, or will that just be subject to the agreement that you signed with the municipality?
I would imagine if we sign a rental agreement for a year, then we've got opportunities to discuss future years at maybe a later date. I think our priority is to get things in place for this year, and we'd be happy to sign a rental agreement for the year and discuss this in greater detail in terms of future years at another time.
Sure. So my inclination would be that any asset purchase, like fire extinguishers, cabinets, anything, is done by the village. So it remains a village asset, stays in the village. And anything that would not have been bought, other than the existence of the play school, gets put on your account. And you need to guarantee that expenditure is covered in rent.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not a money-making opportunity for us. Or is it?
Well, technically it is, but. I mean-
Technically it is, yeah. So
But-
we certainly, at a minimum,
but-
would want to see our cash
But-
outlays covered,
But
at a
it
minimum.
begs the question, why?
Well,
Right.
it is a room that does have other uses. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
It's just
don't
that-
underestimate the impact this is going to have on the Historical Society. They're quite passionate about that.
Yeah, do they ever meet
And
at the
some
same
of these
times?
things do have to be permanently affixed to the wall. They can only be affixed in the second room because you wouldn't be able to fit the library, people who use the library in that lounge area if we had to affix anything there to the wall. There's no room, we've scoped it out without blocking vents or anything to affix any permanent cubbies or storage or anything. So it all has to go into the
So
second room.
Our proposal was exactly as I was
Right.
saying, in that, up against, where there's that window and there's like a little round table and there's a phone on it. Our proposal for any additional cabinet work would be in that lounge room where the phone currently is sitting, is to remove that table and replace it with a cabinet that had some storage underneath it, so that you're maximizing
Right.
the
That's
space.
the only telephone outlet.
But the phone could continue to sit on the surface of the
Right.
cabinet. It's just that instead
Yeah.
of having a table that is solely a table, we would pay to replace that with a cabinet that
Right.
doubles up as a
Yeah.
table but has storage that can lock
Because we
underneath
had
it, and
assumed
that's the
that
storage.
everything would happen in the other room, the room closest to the stairs.
Right, and
Because it's not used as much, because that lounge is used a lot, and
And libraries.
my preference was not to change that at
But
all.
the timing of, this is like
This is-
way early in the morning, right?
this is like 7:30 to 8:30
No, I'm not talking
in the
about that, and
morning, but
anything permanent though that has to go in
The only
would change that room.
The only permanent thing that we're talking about is one storage cabinet
Right.
that they can keep some additional supplies or some
Right.
cubbies that
Yeah.
could move.
But what I'm saying is, they fit nicer into the other rooms. I'm not sure what the
I
reluctance
think-
is for the other room.
Well, I think that,
Because it's not used as much.
Yeah, I think her feeling was just that the other room is so incredibly tiny. To be honest, she was loath to, even if we'd gone with smaller numbers, she was like, this is inappropriate space for the children
So this
to
is
be
where I'm
in.
confused. I thought
And
you were going for both rooms.
We are, but I'm just saying that part of the problem is that room is so tiny.
As an-
We can certainly hang
Because do you need a
photos on
nap
it.
space?
Pardon?
Do you need a nap space?
With a nap space, all we need is a portable, she said, a yoga mat with a pillow and a blanket
Yeah,
that
it's-
could go into the storage cabinet. that we can put
Takes
in
care
a
of it.
quiet corner, that's in that space.
Storage cabinet, what are you talking about, like what?
Well, like,
Okay, these are details that I'll leave for you to negotiate
Well,
with staff in terms of the rent agreement.
Because if this has to be done by Monday, we have to agree now. And I had gone the assumption that everything was being done in that second room because it's really
Okay,
tight
it's
and
not,
like-
so it's being
and
done in both
it's just
rooms.
it's a high use room.
I
So
guess
maybe
it's-
council needs to
From
look at it
7:30
after
to
this
8:30?
meeting. No, it doesn't matter when. If you're putting something permanent into the room,
Oh,
you're
I see.
changing the room.
I
So
think-
maybe council could look at it after this meeting. Just go up and take a look at it.
If I
to
can
see.
just,
Sure.
while
yeah.
I'm here, if I can just say that the only thing that we would consider placing in that other room, simply because the second room, the smaller of the two rooms, is really tiny, I would think there would be a bigger impact on that room by installing an additional cabinet than just replacing a table with a table surface that doubles up as a cabinet.
So the footprint's unchanged.
The footprint would be very similar, maybe a little bit longer than the current table, but it would be a table that doubles up as a cabinet.
Well, I mean, clearly,
It would be minimal.
this hall is not cast in stone. Things are going to change over the next
Right.
20 years.
I think we go with this and let the staff and
Yeah.
them work
So
out
all
the
I would
details,
suggest-
and if they- let's get them in, and then we'll figure it out next council.
Precisely. So I would suggest that the only thing that might be added to this is that staff need to decide if the play school should be responsible for replacing the trophy cabinet with the suitable trophy cabinet, so that the historical society is not put out. Whether they're responsible for that as part of their rent defrayment. So to answer another question that I think you had here, Pam, that was how we're going to fund this, or it's going to fund it out of cash flow. It'll ultimately come back to us.
Okay.
Correct,
I
people?
have a question for Diane. Currently 5 kids, hope it's 10. No requirement to use the gym at all? No mask?
No, and the outdoor play space too, they can go up to the school if they need an outdoor play space. The only other thing, and it's mentioned in this report, is they will use a little bit of the outdoor storage shed to store like earthquake preparedness kits, like whatever the 72-hour requirement is for their water bottles and foil blankets. There'll be a bin, like a Tupperware bin, that they will need to store in the outdoor shed. Other than that, they're there for 40 minutes a day.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you're telling me it's fine. It's
Well,
fine.
as long as this is all covered off in the lease or the rental agreement, whatever it is, that's sounds fine to me. I mean, strategically, this is a good thing for
It's
us.
a very good
Right.
thing.
And there may be, the only other thing that I can see potentially coming back at would be we still haven't resolved professional days. And we might come on a separate proposal to see if we could use the gym space for that, because I don't know what the schools, we haven't even crossed that bridge with the school board yet. So they're constantly changing everything too with all their cutbacks, so.
Do our does Laura, does she follow the same Pro D days?
Yeah, so whatever the Pro D days are, the West Vancouver Pro D days, and so what happens is that last year we had Pro D days that Laura and another staff member, Emily, supervised at the school, and because we've had staff changes and also regulation changes with the school board, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Okay, well, I mean, I
But
think,
we'll come to you another time.
yeah, I mean, it's at a high level, this is what the municipality exists for, is to provide services and amenities to our people. So there's a great opportunity as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so any further discussion? I'll call the question on the resolution that council directs staff to implement the changes to the Village of Lions Bay's upper rooms at the community centre required by Vancouver Coastal Health in order for the Lions Bay Play School Association to be issued a community care facility licence. Can I have a second? Thanks. And any further discussion? So I'm calling the question. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. That's good. Thanks very much. And we'll move on to public questions and comments.
So just to clarify, so I don't need to take care of any of these things, you guys are gonna take care of it?
Well,
The fire extinguisher, I don't need to be going out buying
correct.
fire
No,
extinguishers and
no.
stuff, things.
simply for reasons stated that it needs to remain belong to the village, and then it's going to be too difficult to
Okay.
divvy it
But
up.
I don't know whether it's gonna be ready for Monday or not.
That's going to be the concern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fire
I guess what we
action,
should have discussed further is, do we as well increase, authorize whatever is necessary for overtime?
You can do that after the fact.
Again, it has to be staff's option. It's not a lot of notice. It's firefighters' weekend. They're going to be busy with that.
Contractor? This is not bargaining unit work.
We could see if Andrew could do. Well, Andrew can't do it. It's firefighters' work.
Oh, there's plenty
He
of
said to contract someone out, it would be about $2,000. So we're obviously not going to do that. So
Well, I mean, that's the number I'm seeing here, right?
no, that was just a catch-all because I had to get a number in there, and
Oh, I see.
at that time I didn't know the extent that was needed for the cubbies. Because the fire extinguisher isn't mentioned in the VCH report, so I wasn't aware that we needed a fire extinguisher.
Or two. And presumably secured to the wall, so kids
It
don't
does
start.
need to be secured.
There's a special kind of kid-friendly.
Is that
Yeah, you buy, I think you can buy them together, like the
Yeah.
fire extinguisher that comes with something and.
Yeah.
There should be fire extinguishers out there anyway.
Yeah,
there should
exactly.
be.
Yeah, it should be. I'm surprised that the building inspection didn't find that, but who knows where they're supposed to be. Okay, so I mean the whole thing is predicated on it all working by Monday. You move in Monday, right? So it has to happen tomorrow.
Well, no, inspection
Inspection
Monday.
on
Inspection.
We'd probably move in on Wednesday. I think we could probably, like I said, the cabinet, the storage, the cabinet and the cubby question, we can probably ask her for clarification at that inspection on Monday and get an approval on it anyways.
So certainly the payment for whatever is put in there needs to be done by the village, but it could be reimbursed. So if the Play School Society went and got all the necessary stuff according to how it wanted things to be, and plonked it up there, assembled, and then just submitted a claim, it's 6 of 1 whether you do it that way or village goes out and does it. But I'm hearing we really have 1 working day left.
Right, so that's why I'm saying if we assembled all the materials and left it up there and someone was able to spend a few hours on Monday morning even, that would probably cover it. And we probably wouldn't get a cabinet right away because I think she said that some of the space that was there would potentially serve on an interim basis, right? Just moving.
So Pam, do you have a sufficient spec to know the work that needs to be done by somebody?
I guess I do. The big thing is the windows, so I
Yeah,
have to find out
that
from
is the big
Andrew what
thing.
needs to be purchased, and then
Can you
I have
do with
to-
Andrew on that one? I mean, my experience of filming windows for shadowproofing is you need a specialist to come in and do it.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing different now, so that's good.
the big thing is Public Works time with Firefighters Day. This is Nikki's last day. Garth is on vacation.
It may well be that we need Monday morning a contractor. This is going to be below our purchasing limit, so we don't need to do bids, correct?
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who'd be willing to do it with sufficient, correct licenses, liability, and all that stuff. Rob Simpson would be a start, for example. There's plenty of favors we could call in.
Okay.
Yeah. I think as long as they have a spec and know what to do, they could knock it off in a couple, 3 hours.
Okay.
Except for the window thing.
Mhm.
Can we
So I
leave it
thought
with
we were
you?
talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have time. With all honesty, Anne's away this week. It's a crazy week. I don't know if I have time to arrange contractors. I'm confused. I thought you were talking about arranging a contractor for the windows. Who else would we need a contractor for?
To do the work. If I'm hearing Public Works is not available.
But you mean the windows, to do the work on the
No,
windows?
the securing the cabinets, shuffling this, that, and the other, screwing the fire extinguishers to the wall.
Okay.
Installing, I mean, there's 3 screws on a temporary smoke detector, but it's still 3.
So actually, we're not securing the cabinet, we're just removing the cabinet altogether.
But there's other
No,
cabinets
there's other
in there.
cabinets.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
those 2 big ones.
Yeah, and then we have to remove. We have to find a place for it.
As far as the fire issues are concerned,
I
we
thought
already
they
have a
were, but
contractor
Pam
that
says
can
they're
do it
not.
in
I'm sorry?
moment's notice.
Oh, they might be. We couldn't tell when Fran and I looked. We couldn't.
They're really heavy
They're so
cables,
tight to the
though.
wall. I couldn't tell if they're secured or not. They might be. I just couldn't tell.
Well, there's any number of L brackets out there. You screw, and it's done.
Yeah.
With an anchor.
Yeah, but they could be. We couldn't see anything. But it was so tight to the wall, we couldn't.
Okay, so I suggest let's resolve on this then. That you do in fact supply everything and claim it back from the village.
Okay.
So it'll be sort of a double financial transaction because you will have expected in your rent to have covered that off so that the village is not out of pocket at all.
Okay.
But that will come in time. Simply in the interest of time and so that you get what you want.
Would you
That
like us to look into sourcing a contractor from the village as well?
That might certainly help out
Would that be helpful, Pam?
Pam. Yeah.
Yes, it
yeah.
would.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll email you later and I'll also send you the information on the laminate type of film.
Okay.
And so that you can run that by Andrew and see if that meets code, because that might be a faster application as well.
I think
If
easier
it
is fine.
meets
He
code.
just described it as something, but if you just told them what you wanted
Yeah,
and just say, we
because
just
our
need it to be
source said it
shattered,
was a
then
laminate
that's
sticker
fine as well.
Type thing.
Yeah.
The only criterion there is that the contractor must be licensed contractor, not just a handyman
Okay.
for municipal purposes.
Okay.
There's plenty of those in the village.
there should be, yes.
They may even be prepared to donate the services.
They might. Okay, I will go and try to source
Okay.
all of that, and I'll continue to
Sure.
make correspondence
Okay,
to you
that sounds good.
tomorrow
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Fire extinguishers?
Fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, I've got a list. We
Okay.
can do that between Jurgen and Jonathan and I. Jonathan is coming for the Jordan Sturdy thing, and if you could maybe give him access to the room, he'll measure
Yes.
the windows.
Okay.
Just, Fred's got one question.
Yes.
Don't go anywhere.
The fire extinguishers and the smoke alarms, we already have a contractor, the fire doctor, DNA fire doctors that do all the inspections, they supply that. They can even give you a rebuilt extinguisher that's all tested and everything at half the cost. I mean, it's an easy one, they just give them a call. And
Suitable for the requirements of a childcare space? Because I'm assuming that it's slightly different. Aren't they in a box or something?
Yeah, no, they're the business of living,
No.
supplying fire extinguishers, so they know. it's
They'll
good.
know, yeah.
I mean, we just had sourced a Garrison heavy-duty commercial industrial 10-pound fire extinguisher that I think comes with like a mounting kit for $90 at Canadian Tire. And I would imagine commercial industrial fire extinguisher would, it's
To
all,
save-
it meets all the CSA and ISO standards.
To save one additional admin step, I suggest you do the fire extinguishers. Everything. Just take care of sourcing all the materials,
Okay.
assets that you need.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Just
And
to
we'll
save
have it-
one more step
We'll
for
ha-
Pam.
And we'll look into contractors, we'll be in
Okay.
touch, and
Yes.
we'll aim to have all materials assembled with the contractor on site, hopefully Monday morning.
Okay, sounds
Great.
good.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Was there a resolution for that?
Afterwards?
Yeah, that was a resolution and it passed.
So what,
Not for this stuff. We'll just do this stuff. The resolution is just more
It's the
general
same
that they're
one.
approving that the changes can be made.
Implement the changes.
So it's just per the
It's exactly the resolution.
I'm just gonna
You jiggy with that?
thought so, but.
Okay. Well, it's as you got it here. Okay, so public questions and comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to adjournment. Motion, second, all in favour, opposed, carried. Thank you.